Alright guys, welcome. I'm Gideon.
And I'm Gerald.
And today we will be going through the build process of a quadcopter.
Okay, so what we have here is the DJI's F450 flame wheel kit. It is a almost ready to fly kit, and we will need the NASA M-Lite FC to complement the kit. Okay, the basic tools that we will need is the soldering flux. So we have here is a hobby use soldering paste, and we need the soldering wire, a hex driver bit for our screws, a pen knife for opening and cutting, and one of the most important tools of drone building is a high quality soldering iron. We have here a Hakko FX88D, and the temperature I'm running it on is 350 degrees Celsius. Okay, and now we'll be opening up the frame kit to show you what it has inside. Okay, so we just open it up like this. As you can see, it's quite a nice box. Don't you say, Gideon?
Yep.
Okay, and we have inside here is we have the F450 arms, 4 of them, 2 in red, 2 in white. Let's put that aside here. Help me with that, Gideon. Okay, and we have the battery strap, as you can see, and tools, battery wire leads that you're gonna hook up the XC60s to. And we have screws with Loctites. Okay, and over here we have the main PDB kit with your inbuilt power distribution board, and as well this is the main frame of the plate where we will be mounting the NASA M-Lite FC. Okay, and we definitely have some spare propellers. Definitely the DJI has given us 2 more extras, which is pretty good. Okay, now we get to the good bit, which is obviously the motors and ESCs. So what the DJI has provided us with is 4 E-Series 420 like 20M ESCs and 2312 E-Series motors, and we have also a motor gripper here. So that's pretty good. Good that they include all this for us. Okay, and now Gideon will go through the NASA M-Lite flight controller for you guys.
So first, to unbox, you just use a cutting tool. Try not to cut yourself in this process. It's important to cut away from you, as you wouldn't want to slice your fingers open. So here, first we have the GPS. So you see here, these are the 3M stickers and the antenna. Here we have the main hardware, NASA Lite. It will be connected to the main flight controller, which is here, the NASA Lite, and wires, as well as more 3M tape to mount it to the PDB. Here we have the blinker system to alert us to the different color flashes.
And as well, it acts as a USB hub, so you can configure the FC from this.
Yes, there's a micro USB port that you can connect to your computer, which to connect to the online application. And of course, here we have the power. These leads right here, red and black. I'm not very sure if you can see it, but it connects directly to your PDB. And here we have the micro USB port.
Yeah,
so that's all. Yeah, it's recording.
Oh, it's recording.
Okay. So now with that aside, we'll move on to the assembly process.
Okay, and then we'll basically clear this up and then come right back.
Alright guys, welcome back. So here we'll begin the first process as to building the quadcopter. So here we have the frame, ESC, motor, some tape, the screws. These are the longer ones. There are 2 packages of screws provided in the case. These are the longer ones. Put them in the dish so they don't run off. Here we have the hex. This is the 2mm version.
Okay, now what we'll be doing is we're taking one of the frame arms and positioning the motor to the motor mount over here. So as you can see, one side of it is longer and one side of it is shorter. So make sure to position that nicely and line it up and screw them in.
While Gerald is doing that, here is a different motor. As you can see, there are markings here, arrows pointing either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. This will decide the direction the motor will spin after the quadcopter is set up. So according to that, we have different colored coordinated arms, 2 red and 2 whites. So for each of these arms, for red, it will be mounted one clockwise and the other anti-clockwise. This is so as to allow the motors to spin in the correct direction and the quad to function properly after it's set up.
Okay, I'm done with mounting the motors to the motor mounts. As you can see, I mount it diagonally first to hold it in place. And now what we do is we take the wires and feed it through one of the holes over here. Just find a convenient hole to feed to the bottom, something like this. And we'll take the ESC and just place it at the bottom like this. So for the DJI ESCs and motors, the connectors have come pre-soldered, so that's very easy for you to just pop them in like this. Okay, and what Gideon is going to help me do now is mount the ESCs to the bottom of the arms with the double-sided tape.
So you can just take a bit of double-sided tape. It need not be that long, just good enough to hold it in place. So you can just stick it right in the middle and attach it to somewhat the middle portion of the plastic arm.
Okay, you need to just peel the double-sided tape off.
Okay. So
yeah, as you can see, we're having a bit of trouble with this double-sided tape. So if you are going to mount the ESCs this way, make sure you use proper 3M tape, because what we are using right now is pretty cheap just servo tape, which is not that ideal.
And it's also a good idea to perhaps have a pair of pliers beside, as I don't really have long fingernails to peel it out. Perhaps the scissors head will be able to help a bit.
We just take a short break and we'll come back once we've done mounting. Okay guys, now we're back with this step. So as you can see, we've already peeled it off. Now it's going to mount.
Yep. So you can just mount it anywhere to the side, somewhat middle portion. And as this is a pressure mounting tape, so you just press it down a bit. But do note not to put too much pressure or it may spoil the electronic.
So next thing we do is we take one of the cable ties in order to make sure the ESCs are properly mounted there and it won't move during flights. So we just take the cable tie, something like this. Sorry, Gideon. Just move aside a bit. And we basically just pull the cable ties tight, and can you get the side cutters? Okay, so let's get your side cutters and cut off the excess. Like that, and there you go, you have one of the arms. So now what you need to do is replicate the other 3 of them, and we have completed the first step. Okay, now it's the hyperlapse time.
welcome back. So we have mounted all the motors and ESCs to the different arms, and just a quick recap, there's different orientation. So do make sure that for each color, one clockwise and one anti-clockwise motor is mounted. This is to ensure that the quad spins in the correct direction once it's assembled. So now we'll put all these away and we will move to the soldering.
So for the soldering, we will need the base plate over here, and we will require these two wires for the battery leads. So now what we will begin with is turning on our soldering iron. Just put this into frame so you guys can see. So make sure your sponge is wet and just turn on your soldering iron. It will take a couple of seconds.
So what we will do first is that you can see all the connector plates here. We will first put a bit of tin so as to make it easier for the wires to connect to the plate and the PCB easily. Also, this four here will be connected to the electronic speed controllers, ESCs, while these two, which are right in the middle, are for the main power leads that will be connected to a XT60 connector. So now,
so as you can see, the soldering iron is heated up. We just start by cleaning the tip. Make sure the tip is clean, and we'll get the soldering wire. Okay,
alright, so the battery just died and we are back.
Okay, so I think what you guys missed out is that I already applied the flux onto the connector pads over here. So what you just do is you basically just take the flux, put it up, put it on your finger, and then you rub some on the pads.
What it allows to do is it deoxidizes the connector bits, so it allows for better sticking of the tin to the connecting plates.
Correct. So now we just take a soldering iron, which is already heated up, apply some solder to the tip to ensure good conductivity, and now you just place tip down like this and slowly add solder.
What you want to do is to just coat it with tin, so do note not to put too much.
So as you can see, there's a leftover flux which is left on the connectors. We do not want that to be left there because flux is actually corrosive, and if left long enough it will destroy your electronics. So just take one of alcohol pads and wipe it off.
So at this process, after wiping, we will begin to solder on the joints and connections. First we will solder on the main leads, and then we will move on to soldering each of the arms to their relevant connecting points.
Okay, that's done.
Yep. So it's an alcohol wipe. It's very easy to be accessed to, and as well as it dries super fast. So now, Gerald, we'll begin to solder on the connecting pads.
So as the same thing goes for the pads and the wires, make sure you tin the wires first, but as you can see, DJI has already done the job for you. It's already tinned, so you need not do that. Okay, so the pads are clearly labelled positive and negative. Do not mix up the wires. Red is for positive and black is for negative, obviously.
Tonight, hey, 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 tonight, hey, 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 soul sister, ain't that Mr. on the radio, stereo, the way you move ain't fair, you know. Hey, soul sister, I don't wanna miss a single thing you do tonight.
So now we will continue to do the other 4. It's really the same, just one thing to note before we move on to a hyperlapse, and that is that for this, it's an outward spinning. So over here it's going to spin clockwise, hence it should be mounted this way. And if this is clockwise, this should be anti-clockwise spinning.
Okay, and we'll come back to you once we're done.
Okay, we are back and we just finished soldering all 4 connectors as well as this that we shown earlier. Now we will be soldering the XC60 connector to these 2 points.
Okay, we'll be showing you how to do that, and Gideon will be zooming in for you.
So as we slowly zoom in here,
Can you have a
there you go.
a closer look at the XC60 connector? Is it in frame?
Yep.
Alright, so one of the key things actually I use for soldering is cleaner blue tack. Okay, so it can be found pretty much everywhere. Stick some on the table, you stick the XC60 on top. There you go, have it mounted. And what we're going to do is actually thin the XC60 connector by hitting some solder onto the joints. Not so sure you can see. Okay, the reason I'm doing this is that so that later on when you solder on the wires, you'll be make your life a lot easier, because the wires will just pretty much immediately stick onto the connectors.
It's a very nice hit you got there.
Paiseh, I never see properly. Okay, so we're done with thinning the XC60 connector, and as you can see,
It's right there. Okay, so as you can see here, there's different shapes. One side is curved and the other is not. The side is written, one will be positive and the other will be negative. And make sure when you solder it, to solder it properly, as if you don't, you may short the entire setup according
my sister came in.
to your flight controller and destroy good, what, $400, $300. So you wouldn't want to do that unless you're making a bomb.
so as we mentioned, the positive side here.
Red is positive.
Yes, so Gideon, we need your help on soldering this.
Yep. So you just blue tack the XT60 connector to the table first, and try not to burn your fingers off. Where's the tweezer? Tweezer.
I'm going to cut some heat string.
Where did the tweezer go? Well,
So cut
so much for
plentiful-
keeping organized.
Plentiful of heat string.
And slide it all the way.
Tweezers are here.
Oh, there you go.
Proper lighter that actually works, but we'll be moving on first. Okay, the next step would be actually to mount the arms
To
to
the bottom plate.
Bottom plate, yes, with the screws. So we'll be getting the screws and doing
Yep. So in our plate there are still 4 more screws. We believe that these are extra, but we'll just put them aside for now. Try not to lose the screws, as just one missing screw can cause the entire quad to fall out of the sky. So here we have the other pack of screws. As you can see, they are the smaller ones, so don't mix them up. So now we'll just open them and dump them into the plate. Yeah. What? Michael Jackson? Yeah, anyway, we just flip the entire thing around, and who cares about the history, but just line up with the hose. And the thing here is to note that with this thick wire, it should be running through this open space right here. So
make sure that the
Yeah.
ESC wires goes in as well, so you do not want to leave that out.
yes, so it fits nice and tuck when you screw on.
I'll give it Gideon a bit of assistance with
Yeah.
hex driver.
Yep. My excuse is that I'm not an engineering student, but it's terrible. Even a baby could do it.
You guys can tell it's getting a bit late for Gideon. We are doing this in the middle of the night.
Sorry,
for
guys,
you
I-
guys
Yeah.
to actually learn more about drones.
Okay, so that's pretty much one side mounted. We will move on to the next and try not to cut all our wires in the process.
Actually, we'll be hyperlapsing this so as to not waste so much time. So with the editing magic, I'll snap my fingers and this shit will be very fast done. And there we go. The quad is
Yeah.
all done. Okay, then we have mounted all the arms and the cables are all cable tied. We mounted them cable tied here,
Yeah,
so
this
it looks
is
a
to
lot
keep
better.
things more neat and tidy.
Yes, and now we also have found a. We didn't find a lighter, but we found a matchstick to sort of heat string the XT60s.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're done with that. We'll move on to the next step, which is actually mounting the top plates. I am actually wrong. Next step is actually
The flight controller, yes.
yes. So we just take the flight controller out of this packaging. Gideon, just help me check if I'm in frame. Am I in frame?
Yeah.
Just check the check.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so this is the flight controller. You want to make sure that the bottom is clear.
So what you want is that over here on the flight controller you can see a little arrow pointing this way. So this means that the front of the aircraft should be pointing this way. And for our aircraft here, our quadcopter, we can choose either here or here to be the front of the craft. For this, since white is the front, you will be putting it this way, and this will be the front of our craft. So when mounting the flight controller, the arrow pointing this way, we will want to mount it right smack in the middle of the craft, as close to the middle as possible, according with the line. So what we can do now is to put a bit of 3M tape at the back.
See, before that, right, we want to connect up basically the ESCs, hook up the ESC control leads, which are these, to the corresponding motor 1, motor 2, motor 3 and motor 4, because this is a quadcopter, and we want to hook that up first and then before we mount it, which makes life a lot easier. So Gideon will just show us that.
For NASA Lite especially, it has its own program that you can download on the phone. So in the phone it will tell us where the orientation is, which one will be the first. Perhaps it may be this, perhaps it may be this arm. So over here, as you can see in the app or online, M1 is this one. And so, yep, okay, constipation, yep, M1, yeah, correct, yeah, should be, probably not. M2 is this arm, M3 is this arm, and M4 is this arm. So we slot it in accordingly. It seems like child's play, but it's not.
Gideon, they can't hear you, you gotta talk louder.
Okay.
Not that loud.
Yeah. Well, now it's all slot in M1, M2, M3, M4, corresponding M1, M2, M3, M4, and M5, M6, F1, F2. This will be connected to other stuff in the future. If you want to connect like a OSD or something, blah 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 blah. Okay, so now we're done with this. You want to mount it here. So first you put the down 3M tape here. And how do you do that?
Can you just come down a bit? Okay, this is 3M tape
Yeah,
provided
so you put it right
by
smack.
DJI.
Yeah.
Sure
And once again, it's pressure mounted tape. So what you want to do is after removing the 3M cover, if I can do it. Come on. All right, there you go. It's done. So in this process, what you want to do is mount it as closely as possible to the CG and the center of the craft. So following the line and the arrow, you want to eyeball it pretty much. Use a meter rule. There you go. And you just screw it down. I think it's centralized. Yeah, it should be centralized, but you just want to make sure that it's such. So when you're connected to the computer, when it comes to the programming, that will be covered in a different video. You'll be fine, just fine. So now, Gerald, we'll be mounting on the blinker. You want to mount the blinker supposedly at the back, as when you begin flying you want to point the quad away from you, not to you, as you don't want to chop yourself out and be served in the next Gordon Ramsay dish. So right now, Gerald, can you please hand me the blinker? Alright, we're back. The camera once again died on us.
So I think we were on this step where we are mounting basically the LED hub to the ESC. So what we have done is just put some double-sided tape on there and mount it on the ESC and keep it tight. So nothing much to that.
Yep. And for the blinker, what you do is you plug it into the LED as shown over here in the flight controller. Apologies for knocking the camera side by side. There is no earthquake. So right now we will be moving on to attaching this voltage that will be supplying voltage to our main flight controller, and as well as the blinker and whatnot. So just now what we did was that we soldered in one of the connectors to the main power, and now what we left to do is to solder in the negative wire to the negative power terminal. So let's now proceed to solder.
And
Yep.
your receiver is here, and now you just basically just put the same thing, put some tape, and you zip tie it to the surface.
Yes.
So moving on to the next step, which is
Mounting
basically
the
putting the top
Yeah.
plate on, and then mounting on the GPS, which is included with the NASA.
Yeah, but of course, before you do that, you can always just tidy all this up with a bunch of zip ties.
So we'll not be showing it now, as we want to quickly move on to the final step.
Yeah.
I think we should. Okay, I think we should just go in first.
So with the rest of the screws being
no more
here.
talking already. Have less time.
Alright guys, so we screw the top plate here, and now we'll be mounting on the antenna. So there are three pieces to the antenna, as can be found in one of the bags in the NASA light. So this right here will be the top, and how it does is it connects with this carbon rod to the bottom. You put a bit of super glue on each side before sticking the rod in, putting a bit in here, sticking it, putting the other in, sticking that, and the 3M tape that is provided, we will put it at the top to connect to the NASA light GPS. So now we will
There we go, we're done.
yeah,
So
now
now
we
we
will proceed to glue on the telescopic pole and yes.
Let's mount it first.
So just take a bit of glue, put in a dab, and use the carbon pole to press it all the way down.
Make sure you remove the excess glue.
Yep. And you just let it dry. So for the other end, same concept applies. You just want to put a dab.
You cannot see you.
That's not a dab. But you get the idea, guys. Don't do what we did. It's terribly... It's terrible. It's not just terribly bad, it's terrible.
Okay, getting faster mount before the glue runs out.
Yeah, and the way you're gonna mount the
Faster
top one
mount.
is that there's this arrow over here. What you want is to mount it to the front of the craft, which is this direction. So position it as front as possible and press it down onto the other end of the carbon pole. That's about it, guys.
Okay, do that.
See you next time.